Wassam, bitch. I'm back, bitch. One time for the notification gang. Gang in the building. It's your boy Organic Soul Gumbo. Position in the kitchen, you heard? Like, subscribe, share, drop a comment. We family, that's what we do, you dig? Facts. So, if it's your first time tuning in to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe bell, fill it up so you can get all your videos sent directly to you. And if you back and you part of the notification gang, let's get to work. Now, I've been like everybody else, keeping my eye on the situation that's going on around us. And, there's a lot of things that I notice and a lot of people noticing the same things. And what I'm talking about is the fact that you got a lot of white people, Caucasians, or non-black people who are basically out on the front lines fighting just as hard, or in many cases harder or more violently than black people are fighting. And it's really confusing to not only myself, but it's confusing to other people, especially people over 30 like me, and even more so with the people who are above my generation, the 60s, 70s, and 80s. We living in a very confusing time, especially when you see people who aren't black, namely white people, doing more damage out in the street than black people are. They seem to be a lot more outraged than we are. And there's a lot of word going around on the internet on what's really going on. A lot of people are saying you have paid agents out there infiltrating these rallies and things like that. And if it was a normal occurrence for people to be taking up our fights, then everything would be fine. But obviously that's not the case. Black people have a lot of injustice done to them on a daily basis, whether it be at work or in their communities. And you have a lot of people who traditionally just stand by and watch. They don't say anything. They don't blow the whistle. They don't lend any voice of concern. So now it's leading me to wonder why now. What happened along the way where not just a few people, I'm talking about big groups of people are coming together and saying that they need to help the brothers and sisters, the melanated brothers and sisters. Why are they doing it now? Because they chose sides when it happened to Rodney King. They chose sides when O.J. Simpson was going down. They chose sides with Trayvon Martin. They chose sides with Sandra Bland. They chose sides with Botham Jean. But now they're galvanized with the black community on the guy that, the king, the god that got killed up the road. You really can't say a lot of these things because YouTube would take your video down, but everybody know who I'm talking about, the god. Traditionally, man, in my experience, it hasn't behooved white people to take a proper stance when it comes to black people. They just look at us differently, and I don't understand why. I give you a little short story, a little small story. I was working at a restaurant, and I was working at that restaurant for 11 years straight. Management changes, a whole bunch of employees shifted in and out. I was still there. 11 years is a long time, man. I remember one day I went to work and basically I got into a disagreement with a female employee. She was a white Caucasian woman, somebody who I work with every day. This wasn't a new person or somebody who I had friction with. We had a pretty good working relationship. One day we weren't working in the same section, and we had a disagreement on some side work that needed to be done to set the restaurant up. She said her words, I said my words. No cursing, no profanity, nothing out of the ordinary. People disagree at work all the time. So I worked, that was on a Monday. I worked Tuesday, I worked Wednesday, I worked Thursday, now Friday I'm working. And the management, I'm working a little late because I work lunches. And the management, they looking at me because it's late in the lunch and everybody basically left. I was like one of the only people, one of the only waiters there. And a few tables were there. And the management kept looking at me like, when is he going to be done? When is he going to be done? Long story short, I finished and I go into the office and they told me I no longer was employed there because they didn't tell me why. But a few weeks later, I still had friends working at the restaurant. One of them told me, hey man, so such and such said that you threatened her or you were threatening towards her or something like that. That really fucked me up because I did not threaten that lady. You know what I'm saying? We had a disagreement, but I was not rude to her. I didn't curse at her, nothing like that. But she took that opportunity to go to the management and said that I was a threatening individual, and they fired me after 11 years. They didn't ask me any questions. They didn't get my side of the story. They pushed me out the door. They didn't care about my family. They didn't care about my bills. They didn't care about any of that. The only thing that mattered was a white woman came to them and said that a black man, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, threatened her. And it really broke my heart because I really felt like me and the management had a better rapport than that. That's when I learned never to trust a white person because they'll stab you in the back. And that's when I was, that's when I was a little younger. But I learned to rehabilitate myself, and I know that everybody's not the same. I don't look at all people the same. But in that moment when that happened, you couldn't tell me that everybody wasn't the same. I mean, I've been taken to jail by the police for basically no reason, harassed, pulled over, I've been treated bad by the pale-skinned people in the society, and a lot of black people have. That's why when we look at what's going on outside the window and on the TV right now, to a lot of us, it's very confusing. See, younger people, 18, 19, young 20s, they're more of a melting pot when it comes to their understanding of humanity, because the internet and the age of the internet changed a lot of things. I'm from an era where the only way you can get information was from people who were close to you. And those people who were close to you were usually people who look like you. Now, you can get information or you can become friends with people all over the world, different colors, different religions. And that is working for society somewhat. That is something that we have going for us that's a positive for the younger generation, because although they do see color lines, it's less than what we saw because they're used to seeing other people that don't look like them. But being friendly or cordial or tolerant of people who don't look like you is a far cry from what I'm discussing right now. I'm discussing the fact, basically, let me get down to it. I'm discussing the fact that you got a lot of white people who are inciting violence, throwing bricks, doing graffiti, and really making the cause, they're really making the cause look bad. It's kind of like they're turning something good into something that's very bad. A lot of people are doing peaceful protests. I don't really mind if they do it peacefully or if they choose to do it any other way, because a lot of people are affected by this deeply emotionally. And that brings me to my next point. I just want to know why they're doing this with Mr. The King, the God, because these type of situations happen a lot. These type of situations happen a lot, and a lot of them are on camera, police camera, and they have footage from, surveillance footage of situations like this, let's say, occurring. Why did they choose to broadcast this one so adamantly? Why is this one the one that they're pushing and this one the one that's being a lightning rod for change? There's a lot of weird things going on with this case, and That's just part of my opinion. I don't understand why they took this one and really ran with it. To truly understand what somebody's going through and to truly feel what somebody is experiencing, you have to be of a like mind with that person, and you have to be someone who is familiar with the plight of the individual that you're feeling bad for. And I don't think that a lot of white people know black people. They don't really understand what we go through on a daily basis. They don't understand the history of black people in general. So for them to show so much disdain to the government and the police more than we're showing is a very strange thing to witness, because typically, we don't really understand each other, and to stand up for somebody and to put your own freedom at risk for them is something that's very noble if it was done genuinely. But unfortunately, there are a lot of placed individuals that they put into these rallies, and like I said before, they're making the cause look bad. They're making the movement look bad. And these are a lot of the white people, unfortunately, that you see in the rallies. There are a whole bunch of good white people in the rallies that are trying to understand black people. They're trying to get on better footing with us, and they know that injustice has been occurring since the beginning of time. They know that they are the beneficiaries of white privilege, and they don't want to see that continue. So they're there and they're protesting and they're trying to learn. But then you have others who are sent by other individuals that fund things, and they're throwing bottles and they're spraying up buildings, and it's making the good-hearted people look bad. It's like a last-ditch attempt to stop what's naturally going on right now. You see, because of the internet, like I said before, because of this internet, we have the ability to be closer to each other as humans, as a human race. And the thing about that is, you can't stop that now. The internet has been created, and the only way to stop what's going on is to shut it down, and you can't do it. You can't unsee what's already been seen. So many things so much information has been passed, that there's a lot more understanding between humans, whether it's on the Eastern Hemisphere or the Western Hemisphere. We're learning a lot more from each other and about each other. So right now, what they're trying to do is put one last vice in between us. But I really do think that we're coming to a time where we are going to be closer with our brothers and sisters on the planet, meaning everybody. I do believe that these events that are taking place, that the government are using trying to divide us, it's just bringing us closer. And eventually it's going to bring down the establishment. So what are they going to do now? Okay, are they going to just start saying, okay, it doesn't even matter about race anymore. It doesn't even matter about race anymore. If you're not down with the program, then you're an enemy. We're going to need each other when that happens, whether you're black or white. We're going to have to have power in numbers, because there's going to come a time where the government is going to get very desperate, and they're going to try to divide us even more so they can conquer. But what we have to do is stay strong, stay focused. Don't forget about what's going on right now. A lot of times people just tend to go from one thing to the other, and they don't remember what they did the day before. But this time we have to stay the course, know the enemy, and we got to attack. Whether you're black, white, Chinese, we all fighting a common enemy. And that's really starting to show right now.